I used to believe that the quiet between two people could mean safety. That silence didn't have to be empty, that sometimes it held promises, unspoken but real. But the night I discovered my husband's text, silence became something else entirely. It became the sound of my world cracking open while he slept peacefully beside me, unaware that I was reading the truth he thought he buried. I remember the glow of his phone lighting the dark room, my hand trembling as I scrolled. Her name Carla appeared again and again. Words that were once mine were now being handed to someone who wasn't even part of our life. I wish you were here. She doesn't understand me. I think about you even when I'm home. I think I stopped breathing somewhere in the middle of those messages. There was no confrontation, no screaming, no shattered glass. Just a cold, creeping understanding. The man I loved had left me long before I ever caught him. When I finally looked at him, still asleep, mouth slightly open, peaceful as if he'd earned rest, something inside me hardened. He wasn't going to get away with rewriting our marriage into his excuse. Not anymore. The next morning, he acted like nothing was wrong. He even kissed my forehead. I whispered don't and stepped back. He froze, reading my expression. I didn't say a word and he didn't ask. Cowards never want the truth spoken aloud, but fate has a way of adding layers even to pain. 2 days later, his father passed away unexpectedly. I attended the wake because grief doesn't erase betrayal, and betrayal doesn't erase decency. Besides, I had no intention of causing a scene. My revenge was quieter, patient, almost gentle. Like a knife pressed against skin without breaking it yet. He avoided my eyes the entire time. His mother clung to me. She always liked me more than she liked him. The room was filled with soft condolences, the murmur of lost moments, the weight of shared history. I moved through it gracefully, offering support, offering calm. Meanwhile, he looked like a man drowning in secrets, afraid I might speak them. But I didn't, not yet. It wasn't until a slideshow began photos of his father across the years that he finally approached me. Can we talk? He whispered. I nodded, though I already knew where this was going. We stepped into a quiet hallway where the floral scent from the viewing room couldn't quite mask the sting of disinfectant. He rubbed his hands together like he was preparing to show remorse, and I almost laughed. I'm sorry, he said, for everything. I messed up. I was lonely. You were busy. It didn't mean anything. There it was, his attempt to paint himself as a flawed man seeking forgiveness. In a moment of family tragedy, he thought grief softened boundaries. He thought I would crumble because his father had died. But I just looked at him, really looked, and finally saw him clearly, not the man I married, but the man he'd always been. Do you want me to forgive you today? I asked softly. Because it's convenient. His face paled. He reached for my hand, but I stepped back. You're not sorry. You're scared. He flinched, and the truth hung between us like humidity. Please, he whispered. Don't do anything here, my family. They don't deserve. That's the first thing we agree on, I said. And for a moment he relaxed, thinking I was promising silence. But silence is a tool, and I had been sharpening mine. When we returned to the main room, people were gathering around the memory board, photos pinned neatly, some crookedly, capturing pieces of a life. My husband stood beside his mother, offering comfort with the same hands that had typed lies to another woman. A cousin approached me with a laptop in his hand. Do you mind checking these pictures? You always catch things we miss, I smiled. Of course. That's when the idea settled fully into place, gentle, inevitable. I didn't sabotage anything. I didn't alter the slideshow or hack devices. Instead, when the cousin walked away, I closed the laptop softly and returned it to the table exactly where his mother had placed her phone earlier. Then I approached his mother and hugged her. A long, warm embrace. Long enough for her phone to slip easily into my hand. Long enough for me to open the one thing my husband never thought she'd see. I didn't send the texts. I didn't forward them. I simply opened the thread. The entire affair laid bare, and set the phone on the memorial table, beside a vase of lilies, screen glowing quietly. And then I walked away. His mother found it first. A single sharp gasp cut through the room, louder than any eulogy. Conversation stopped. The slideshow continued playing grainy childhood photos while she stared at the messages, hand covering her mouth. My husband rushed to her, confused. She held the phone out to him with shaking fingers. What is this? He stuttered. Denials, excuses, messy, frantic. The kind of chaos I never needed to create myself. It unfolded naturally, like a truth finally exhaling after being suffocated too long. I stood at the edge of the room, calm, almost serene. People weren't looking at me, they were looking at him. The man who had betrayed his wife during his father's final months. The man pretending to mourn with integrity while texting another woman. He caught my eyes across the room. You did this, he mouthed. I tilted my head. Not in denial. Not in confession, just, Acknowledgement, actions don't always need words. His voices rose as truth spilled. As he was confronted by the people he thought he could hide behind, I quietly picked up my coat. I didn't need to stay. My revenge had never been about spectacle. It was about letting the truth stand on its own legs. Outside, the air was cool, almost tender. I walked to my car feeling lighter than I had in months. Sometimes justice doesn't need fire. Sometimes it needs only a small, deliberate light placed where someone hoped darkness would remain. I drove away, knowing he would remember this day for two reasons, and only one of them had anything to do with his father. If you want to hear more stories like this, stay close. There's always another truth waiting.